Some of them are ready and they're like, I don't even need all your information. Let's just move on. But some of them might need more time. Let's see. Okay. So the main thing in here is that don't give up on the lead. Once you have it, just keep it and send as much information as you have, because that's what's going to help them stay with you. Because we're not the only agents here. There's a lot of us, and all of us are looking for a business. So there might be someone else that comes and sends them better information, and then they leave and they go with someone else. So it's once we have it, it's a responsibility to keep it and treasure it really good. Okay. Do you guys have any questions so far?
Sorry.
Okay. It's more.
Solutions that you go when someone just keeps putting it. I feel like I deal with a lot of those people in my age group in this age. It's just like, oh yeah, I want to buy a house, and then months and months and months, and I'll try and push an appointment, but they're
not ready.
Want to meet in person because things are kind of more just like over social media, like online, and so. Other than like maybe offering a Zoom or something, like, are there any other like solutions you guys have?
I mean, it is, and we have to think about this. Every generation is different, and we have to cope with every single one of them. So some of them, just like everything in person, like my business, like I focus more on Spanish speaking, like 90% of my business is like Spanish speakers. And most of them are just in person. It's like I can give them information over the phone, but they feel more safe if we do it in person. And if I bring them to the office, that makes me look more professional. But there's others that it's like, just tell me everything over the phone. And that's basically an appointment over the phone or through Zoom. And sometimes they're not ready, like you mentioned, your age, maybe they're not ready because they don't even have their 2-year taxes, or their income is not high enough. And that's why they keep rejecting the appointment. Maybe they just don't want to tell you. But as long as you're there and keep sending, so if you already know what they're looking for, just keep sending them information. Like they say, if they're just looking for condos in Provo, keep sending them condos in Provo.
Ask them the question. If you don't buy, you know, I'm assuming you're talking home buyer at this point for that. Just if you don't buy a home right now, where are you going to be in a year from now or 2 years from now?
And never keep them out of your loop, though.
And let them think about that question, because sometimes they get, oh, yeah, I guess I'll be in the same spot, you know, nothing is going to
Paying
change.
the same rent.
If nothing changes, nothing changes. And rents are going to keep, you know, that's the thing right now, is I think rents are about to shoot up. Because the home price is good, the interest rate is good, the rents have to now, they have to catch up.
And see, in a lot, like right now, buyers, a lot of them, their main rejection is interest rate. I mean, interest rate, let's say they're 7%. I mean, they're lower, but let's just say they're 7%. I went to this class where they mentioned it might be 7%, but if you think about rent, that's 100%. So 7 to 100, you're still making money in the house. No matter what, you still, but they don't understand that part. So that's why it's good for us to learn as much as we can, even if it has to do with loans, because at the end of the day, they think that we know it all, even though we don't. But that's why we have to learn as much as we can. But the main thing is, like I said earlier, don't just give up on that lead, because once you have it, just focus on it. I mean, not just one. You want to have a lot, because the more we have, the more business we get.
Keep the 36 touches going over, because eventually they'll come around.
They are. They do come around.
That's what I'm learning. Even the last class that I was at, she talked about, like, even if they don't respond, like, even if you're sending them, just like informative, like market stats or whatever, like that keeps you fresh on their mind.
Yes.
And that's why I'm hitting this roadblock, because I'm understanding where, like, I give up on them, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, they're not ready, like, I'll just circle back whenever they tell me, but it's not bugging them.
No, because like they mentioned to you, they're not responding, but they're seeing the message, or maybe they don't even open up the email, but they can see your name,
Yeah,
so that you're staying on top of mind.
yeah,
And that's the main thing, staying on top of mind, because whenever they're ready, they're gonna say, oh, she keeps bugging me. Let me just call her. And then it's because you kept putting your information into her email, her messages, whatever you do.
yeah,
Like you said, 36 stitches.
yeah. Well,
That's the main thing.
yeah.
Okay, so far, any ahas you guys have? Anything you guys want to share from what we've gone through so far in the class? Going once, going twice? No? Okay, well, we'll move on then. There you go. So we're gonna go to preparing for the buyer consultation. So now we already have the buyer, the lead, everything went well. They accepted for to come into an appointment. They trusted us. We have the appointment set up. So now we're gonna get the buyer consultation ready. Let's see, there it is. So buyer consultation preparation checklist. So what do? We're gonna confirm the appointment, the date and time, and you wanna confirm it. I mean, if you got the appointment, the buyer yesterday, the lead, and they say, well, let's just do it tomorrow. Well, the day, you wanna call them or text, just confirming the appointment, this time, send them the location, the office, or wherever you guys agree to meet. And because a lot of times things happen, life happens, and what if they ended up forgetting or something urgent came up and they forgot to let you know, and then you come to the office and no one showed up. So it's your responsibility to confirm with them before, and not just an hour before, but the morning of or the day before, just so that you're still on top of mind and everyone's in the same page, right? And then once we're doing that, we want to ensure that all decision makers attend to the appointment. And what does that mean by decision maker is, so whoever, let's say you talk to the wife, but the husband is actually the one that's going to be under the loan for the house. So you want to make sure that he's here, or the other way around. But you want to make sure that they're here so they understand the process, because that's why the appointment is for. You're going to explain the process of buying the house, right? So you want to make sure that they're here and complete your buyer guide. So we're going to go through that in a minute, and then prepare the meeting space. So when you come to the office, we're just going to pretend that the appointment is going to be here. You already reserve a conference room upstairs. So you want to go in there, make sure everything's clean. And what I do, I always make sure that everything's clean and also organized, because sometimes there's pens all over the table. So you want to organize everything, make it look nice. So when they come in, whatever you do, it's a good presentation about yourself. So everything starts in your presentation and how your office is, because they're going to think this is your office. So how neat your office looks. So that's where preparing the meeting space. And then review the lead sheet. Review what they had told you before. So when you're reviewing things with them, just so they know that you're important for them and not keep asking them over and over the same questions. So we'll move over to the other one. Okay, so the 10 service areas of buyer value proposition. So the number one is needs analysis, pre-qualification or pre-approvals, neighborhood information, home search, make an offer, negotiate to buy, vendor coordination, pre-close preparation, closing, and post-closing. So we have those 10 things. And we'll move to the next slide. So the buyer guide. So in Command, we have anything and everything you can think of. You can get the buyer guide, the seller's guide, everything. And when you put it in there, it will personalize it for your client. So it looks so professional. And so that guide will give you guys all the information you need to make it professional for your client. And when you give that client that buyer guide, it will make you look so professional. It will make you look like you know what you're talking. And that's what it has to be. And it's just you put in the information. I'm not so techie, but Hunter is. So if you guys need any help putting this together, he can help you with that. And he will show you how to do it so that it makes you look good as a person and professional for your clients. Okay. So like I mentioned, everything is in Command. It's completely customized to your client, and we'll go through some of those. So once you've given this guide to your client, let's go back. After they've gone through it, or they see the booklet and they see all this information we've gathered for them, what do you think your buyer is going to think when you hand them that information? Yes, they're going to think that you're so smart, you know what you're doing. So they're going to trust you more. And what does he give them? So you're giving them this guide. What gives your buyer? More trust in you, right? And does this, you giving them this information, does it provide value to them? It does, because they're going to say, oh, this person took the time to prepare this for me. So that makes me feel more special. Then I do want to work with this person. I don't want to keep searching or buying for another agent, or I don't want to go to the next appointment and have scheduled with someone else. Sometimes they do that. They have other appointment and they're just buying around to see who gives them better information. So you want to prepare yourself so that you be the one that they stay with. Because you know, I already told you guys, there's a lot of us out there. So, and we're all looking for business and we're all doing our best. So let's have our buyer guide look so professional, and at the same time, keep the lead actually turn them into an actual buyer. Okay. Let's see. You guys have any questions?
Where do you find the buyers guide?
Let's see. I don't have that right here, but if you go under, I think it was under the Command, and can't remember. But when Hunter comes back, we'll ask him for sure, because he has all that information and he can help us personalize for every single one of them to make it more professional. Okay. So our next slide would be, so we're still going through this. Once we're giving them this guide, explaining everything that goes in here, you're building the relationship with them, right? Because that's the main purpose of bringing them to the appointment, to build a relationship with them so they can trust you and they can stay with you, right? And also you're helping them build their relationship because with lenders, so they can learn how to get their loans, because you're going to have a list of vendors for their loans, for their credit, if they need to fix credit and all that. They're going to trust you that you know everyone. So that's why you're helping them with this guide. Let's see. So the guide looks something like this. And like I said, it's completely customized. So everyone can brand. Once you print it out, it's going to be branded with your information. So personalized from you to them with their information. And then we're going to talk about their needs. What are their needs? Let's see. So we mentioned earlier, once we have them here in the, let's say in the table with the appointment, so we're gonna ask them what are their what's their dream home? So you're gonna start writing down what their needs are, right? And the buyer's guide will explain that information as well, but you review it with them so they know that you know what you're doing. So you ask them, well, what's your dream home? Well, how many rooms do you want in your house? How many bathrooms? If you already know that information, you can just really repeat it with them so that they know, oh yeah, this person is interested in what I want. Let's see. Okay, and then when you're building their preference for the client, you want to ask them, what's the best way to get a hold of you? Like, would you prefer for me to send you emails, or do you prefer for me to send you messages? Because in that, you're gonna, in this appointment, you're gonna share your app, which comes ahead. But you can start asking them, what's the preference way of contacting you? And you write it down so that you have it for the future. Because if they say, well, don't call me when I'm at work. So you write it down. So you don't call them and you're like, oh, I forgot you said. But if you write it down, then you have it in their notes so that you don't make the mistake of interrupting them when they're at work. And if they say, well, I go through text better than emails. So then you already know not to send them an email because they hardly ever open the email. But if you already know that they only go through email, so then don't send them a text, everything through email. And this is the reason why we want them to come to the appointment, because then you get to know them better, not just through the phone call, but in person, then they feel that they can trust you more. Okay, let's go to the next one. And then this other one is home wish list. You ask them, so do you want an older home? Do you want a house where it's move-in ready? Or do you want a house that you want to remodel? You're okay with one that needs some extra help getting fixed upper? Or do you want with a bigger backyard, or you don't care about the backyard? And one of the main questions about asking them on their wish list is, are you okay with the house that's in an HOA? Some of them don't like HOA at all. So you don't send them anything with HOA because they're going to be like, I told you I don't like HOA. So it's a good way of writing things down and knowing what they want so that you don't make the mistake of sending them the opposite. Because then they're going to be like, I already gave you all this information.
If I ask you what an HOA is, what's your typical response?
Community association. That's what I usually answer. And I said, and then I explained. So it's like a community association where it depends on what it gets included, but most of the time it's either they're mowing the lawn, cleaning the snow, they pay for some utilities, some of them bring internet, depending on how big the community is. Some of them have a pool, and that's why it's more expensive, or the community park. I mean, that's what I explained to them.
You mentioned that they charge a monthly fee for that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. When I said at the HOA, and they said, what's HOA? It's a community service that they have. It's a community, but then you pay this much a month besides your mortgage payment. And on top of that, I mean, you pay that every month besides your mortgage payment, but this is what it gets included. And every house or every community is different. So if there's something that's in HOA, we just need to make sure they check the price and what's included, so they're aware. But if they say, oh, I don't want anything that's in HOA, okay, then whenever I find something that's within their price range and has everything they want, but it's HOA, then I don't send it to them because they don't want HOA. So
Okay.
we just got to be careful with that, because then if you don't pay attention to those things and you keep sending it and sending them, it's like, this guy is not paying attention. So then you might lose them after you work with them hard. Okay. Okay, so we have those in here. So those are the wish lists that you want to write down, because when you have the client here at the appointment, it's the time for you to just listen to what their needs and wants, and you just write things down, making notes, and you writing things down, show them that you care for them, show them that you are listening and you care and you really want to work with them. So that's a good way of showing your professionalism. And so all that, when you do the package, the buyer package, the buyer guide, all this is going to be included in there. And on this one, it's just showing them how it what it is and how it works. So how buying a home works. So we're going to partner with, they're going to partner with an agent, which they're already doing with me. And then we as agents are going to help get pre-approved for a loan. We can refer them out to the lender that we work with, or if they already have a lender, then that would be good too. Just letting them know that's the steps. Once we get pre-approved, then we find the house. Depending on what their price range is, then we find them the house that they want, because they've already told us their wants and needs on the house, right? And then once we have the house, it's within their price range and they like it, it has everything they want or mostly what they want, then we make an offer and we negotiate with the terms and everything that go within the contract. And then we go under contract. And then before we close or during the contract, we explain what the contract process is. We're under contracts, we have due diligence, inspections, and then we wait for the loan to do the process. Then we go through the appraisal process. We give them a brief description of how it is, so they're aware of what's coming, right? And that's the reason why we give them the buyer guide, because we might explain to them, but at the end of the day, it's like we gave them so much information, they forgot what we talked to them about, because we gave them so much information. But since they're taking the buyer guide with them, they can just re-review everything. And that will help us. They would understand more what we're saying. And then explain once we get to once all the contract is done and it's the day before closing, and when we get to closing and explain how everything works, because it's a responsibility, because since they're our buyers now, to explain everything and not just pretend that I give them the guide so they know everything. No, we have to explain so that they know that they can trust us and close with any question, even if we give them this booklet with all this information. And that's when we have to learn as much as we can too, so that we give them the right answer. And let them know that we're here for them to call us, because a lot of questions come out through the process of buying the house. So let them know I'm here for you to call whenever you have a questions. There's a process in the contract where I always tell my clients, there's a process in the contract after we do the inspection. The looks really silent, couple weeks between inspection and appraisal, but not because it's so quiet that means I'm out of the loop. No, just call me with questions, because even though it's quiet, the lender is working on getting the loan approval, and I'm working with the lender because we're working together. So just call me whenever you have any questions. Let them know so that they can trust you and they can trust that they can call and not just call the lender for anything. Because they call the lender for the loan, but if they have any questions about the house or whatever it is, just letting them know that you're there for them. And not just, oh, I'm just here for the commission. No, just let them know you're here. Huh?
I'm just here for a commission.
Well, you're here to help the client or else you won't get a commission. Any questions so far? Okay. Good. Okay. So the home loan made it simple. Right here, it's like I mentioned earlier, letting them know or referring them to a lender that you worked before. If they don't have a lender and you already have a lender that you worked before with, just let them know who they are. Refer them to them. Refer them to someone you know and you trust, and not just to anyone, because that will make it so hard and sometimes impossible to get them through when it gets to the loan process. And you want to make it easy for them so they come back with you, or so that they can give you a referral, because that's what's the business about. And having them here, you give them the real value, the real experience of everything that you've learned, everything, all the experiences you have. Okay, any ahas, questions, concerns? We're good? You guys are learning everything? Good.
I'm not sure retaining everything is the right way to put it.
But the main thing is that we're here, right? Here to learn as much as we can. Yes. And we do have this good education. Ignite is really good. And as long as you guys are here every day learning, something's going to get stuck in your head for sure. Okay. Anything you guys have learned so far that you guys didn't know, or just reviewing things?
Even those guys I didn't know, I'm like looking at command and all these resources.
Yeah, we have a lot of resources, a lot. There's a lot.
Too much stuff we have here.
And that's good.
It's been overwhelming. I'm like so lost.
Have you been in the business for a long time
4
or?
years,
Oh, good.
but I've been here for 3 weeks now, I think.
Oh.
and
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's drinking from a fire hose.
Yes, I agree. It is.
That's what it is.
When you come from a brokerage that was small, that's where I came from, a small brokerage.
Oh,
And we didn't have a lot of training. And I came to Ruiz and I'm like, mind blowing. It's way too much. But at the same time, it's good because if you think you have a downtime, that's the time to go in there and learn as much as you can. There's videos in YouTube. Well, the time that you're like, I don't have any leads, I don't have anyone to call, I already called everyone, then just go into Command and learn as much as you can. There's a lot of videos in YouTube from Command that shows you how to do things in there as well. So if you don't want to call Hunter to help you out, go to those videos and that would help you too. Okay, so let's move on to conducting the buyer consultation. I think we already went ahead of the game. So when you're preparing for the buyer consultation, prior to meeting with your buyer, you should have a high quality color copy of your buyer presentation ready for them. So the guide that we were talking about, you can print it out like in good quality paper and color, or if you give it to them just through the computer, email it to them, it's up to you. I feel like if you do it in paper, I feel like it's more professional, but everyone's technology is different. So and when you're going into the, or what else might be prepared to have the appointment? What else will you be preparing besides prepare the package, the buyer's guide? What else do you guys think you should prepare?
Presentation.
Okay. How about your kitchen?
What we should prepare,
Mhm.
what they want.
Because we should probably talk about what they need and they're looking for.
Mhm.
Just try to fit best interest to them. So I think this is part of it, just for,
Mhm.
but they want to live, their potential range,
Mhm.
potential other contacts such as if they've been approved or not. And if
Yeah.
not, then you can lender.
Okay, that, all those were good answers. How about you, Christian? What else would you prepare for them, for the appointment, for their appointment? Besides
I
that?
think the thing is to know what exactly they want, so that you don't waste your time, you don't waste their time.
Mhm.
Especially, you know, they're trying to get them a house that is $1 million to somebody that early is gonna buy their first house.
Uh-huh.
So just kind of adjust to what
What
their
their
needs.
Yeah, that, all those are good, but the, one of the main thing is, what kind of mindset should we have going into a buyer consultation? Because besides preparing all the paperwork, everything they want and they need, you gotta prepare yourself. Because, and how do we prepare ourselves? With confident, open mind, caring, and ready to win, right? Because we gotta be confident of what that we're sharing with them, because we had already reviewed all the context that we're giving them, so they know what we're saying and not making things up. And also caring, like we do care for you. We do want to, I do care for you. I do want to help you. And by doing so, they're going to see that you're ready, and then you're going to win the client. Like I mentioned earlier, they're not going to go and buy with someone else. You're going to retain that client. So we've discussed limiting beliefs many times before. This is not the place for them. You know what you're talking about, you're prepared, and you are the agent that is going to best serve those clients. This is not the room for negative or small thinking. So it's kind of what we said earlier. Just showing them, giving them that information, shows them that you're ready to help them out, and being confident on what you're saying and what you're doing, so they know that you're ready to help them out. And if you have any limited beliefs, when you go onto the table, they're gonna notice. So just put this aside. Like this says, there is no room for negative or small thinking when we're doing a buyer's consultation or any other consultation with a buyer or a seller. You want to go in there feeling and looking confident and professional. Okay, let's see. Okay. Who wants to read this? You want to read it? Okay.
I'm knowledgeable, caring, and the best agent for these clients. They will appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to represent them as they buy a home.
Okay. So that's when we have to combat any negative thinking with affirmations. So this is a good affirmation, and let me have all of you guys read this affirmation with me. Ready? So let's all read it at once. I am knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for these clients. They will appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to present them as they buy a home. So we gotta be positive about ourselves. Like this, I'm gonna win this deal. Don't think negative thoughts. Because if you do, then they can tell. They can tell when we're not sure what we're saying or what we're doing. So let's just do the positive affirmation before we come and feel confident, so they can tell that we're ready for them. Okay? So the next one is welcome the buyer. So when, I don't know if you guys have already had appointments with buyers, but for me, when I've already scheduled my appointment, the buyer's coming to the office. When they're here, I come and welcome them because I'm in the conference room, come and welcome them into the waiting area, and I walk them into the conference room. And when I'm doing that, I'm already welcoming them and asking them how was their day, make them feel at home. make them feel that they can trust us in person, just like they trust us on the phone when they gave us the appointment to come and sit with us. And then, so this one says, effective delivery of buyer presentation begins with welcoming the buyer and setting the expectation for the appointment. Give the client confidence by asking questions about themselves. Remember that we all like when someone is interested in us. So how do you guys feel when you're talking to someone and they keep asking about yourself? To tell them about you. How do you feel? How do you feel, Kiki?
Well,
They
well,
want to know you.
Someone just kept talking about themselves. It's like, thanks. But it's be good. Just suspicious.
So how would you feel if you come to an appointment and they just keep asking about you, like, how's your day? How's work? How's the family? And so would you feel more comfortable with that than you just hearing about me, my life? It's like, oh, that's boring. I don't think this is the agent I want, right? So that's why it gives us the example of, remember that we all like when someone is interested in us. How about you, Christian? How do you feel when you go to an appointment and they ask about you? Tell me about yourself, because they want to get to know you.
It depends how pushy they're, that's all. I mean, I think the first appointment is not gonna be easy for you to go about. I think that once you get to know that person, then you get more comfortable and start talking about yourself.
And then they win your trust. Right?
Exactly.
And that's the main purpose about them coming to an appointment. You earning their trust. And by doing so, or how do you earn their trust? By asking questions about themselves. Letting them know that you're interested about themselves, not just you. And yeah, sometimes clients want to know everything about us too, but then that's another conversation because you want to focus on them first. But when they start asking you questions, then you're kind enough to let them know or answering their questions. So then that gives you more trust among each other. And they're not just saying, oh, they don't want to tell me anything about themselves. How am I going to know this person? So it's
And also, when you're talking to, well, you know, some people are not as open as others. And some people may be, you know, mad at you asking them questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
But see, once you get to that point that they come to the appointment, I feel like it's because you already earned some of the trust. And that's why they agreed to come to the appointment. Because or on the other side, it would be them rejecting. And if they're rejecting, then like we mentioned earlier in the class, if they're rejecting, then we don't give up on them. We keep putting them on our 36 touches, any marketing. And sooner or later, we'll earn their trust. Just keep staying in top of mind. But once they decide to come to the appointment, then I feel like it's because you've earned trust. They like you now. So when they're here and you know they like you now, then the main thing for us to do is to start feeding that trust with us interested about them, asking about their family. Those are the main, I think it's called FORD. Like family, recreation, occupational, and dreams. And when we get to the D's, like, what do you want for your house? Like, how do you want your house? That's part of all this training. How about you? How do you feel? Tell me your name again.
Kaylee.
Kaylee.
Yes.
How do you feel when people ask questions about you?
I feel like everybody likes to talk about themselves, and so that gets to open them up. That's an easy way to get them to open up. And then as an agent, like asking them about like what their hobbies are and what they like to do, like when you're going through the home search, you know those, when you really know your buyer and you come across something that's close to like a whatever class that they like to do, like you knowing those little things will show that you care a lot more. And it's not just, you don't see them as a money, as a dollar sign. And, and building a relationship, if anything.
And that's like the main one of the main things. We gotta build a relationship with them so they can know that you trust them and they can trust you. And having a good relationship all around with a client, then the not only results in one transaction, but many, because you don't know how many friends they have to give you referrals. So you always want to take care of that one client as best as you can, because they might be the ones that give you a whole bunch of referrals. And if you don't take care of this one client, and if they have someone else that wants to be referred to someone or looking for a realtor, they won't send it to you because they didn't have a good experience with you. Or maybe they won't even finish with you through the line of buying a house.
Well, yeah, and then if they're going to other buyer appointments and they're trying to choose a realtor, like the one that made them feel,
More comfortable.
yeah, like they were cared for and that
Mhm.
they were genuine, that's gonna win over anything. And then when you want to follow up with them after the deal and like, yeah, in terms of like referrals and stuff, it's like there's reasons to keep reaching out and like checking on them because you know, like, oh, it's your daughter's birthday, or oh, how did that thing go? And oh, I remember you were saying this, and that makes people, when they know that you remembered something small about them,
Yeah,
that,
impacts them.
yeah.
Impacts them and they want to come back with you. Or they, because I have this experience, then they say, oh, she knows everything. She knows what she's doing. And just you giving them this information and caring about them, asking them questions about their life. Yeah, there's some that are not too open, like Christian said, but you want to talk to them as much as you can, get as much information. And you can tell when they want to answer, then you hold back and focus down on the buyer's guide. But if you can see that they're answering and they're interacting with you, then follow up with the conversation so they can feel more comfortable, and then they're gonna open up really easy. You just gotta know when to stop because you don't want to be pushy either. But just bringing them to the appointment, it's the best thing we can do to earn their trust.
You could be pushy with like trying to get to know them. I don't think that people are necessary, like you said, if they're there, like they're open to having conversation. And so I don't think,
Because they earn their trust.
yeah, and if anything, you all lean more towards getting to know them than shoving all the serious stuff. Yeah, I don't know. One people up.
Yeah. Okay. So right here it's asking me to have you guys interact with each other for 3 minutes. Just getting to know each other or pretending like a role play, one being the agent, the other one being the buyer. And it says that on your guys's booklet, it should have some questions. I'm not sure, because like I said, I don't see the same slides or paper that you guys have. Just to practice, get comfortable. So I don't know if you guys had any appointments before, but if not, this is a good chance to practice with each other. Are you guys up to practicing?
Sure.
Let's give it a try, guys.
Wait a second. My book, it says I'm in sellers, not buyers.
The buyer's one,
Oh.
the section right before that one.
Yeah. All the sections are like one after another, but the buyers is before sellers. See if it gives me any questions. Well, this one has questions. Let's move on to this one. Oh, it's the one with the.
Let's see, welcome to buyers that we're
Yeah.
doing right now.
Yes. Billy, Christian, you guys want to practice for 3 minutes?
Okay, book one, all right,
Did you guys find the questions?
let's see.
Or practice?
Is it just the buyer need analysis?
No, it's the buyer. Welcome the buyer.
Well, thank you for letting me help you.
Fire.
I'm giving you a customer experience.
Let me see.
Which
Page is that?
This is page 212.
Yes, that would give us the questions. Practice.
No.
He's not the best guy. Hi, thank you for letting me help you. 5-star customer service rating.
Like, well, how much time less than.
I'd like to get a clear idea
Not sure.
what you're
Let's see.
looking for in your new house. So with your permission, I'd like to spend the next 20-30 minutes, we'll just kind of explore the right type of home would be like for you. And we'll call this your, your 5-star home, perfect home.
Oh, I checked, like,
so yes, our notes today, we would say,
Like you giving them the best experience.
Yeah.
so it's gonna seem like a lot, it's gonna seem like a reduction or position, but I'm really just wanted to narrow down some.
What page are you?
One tour. Something like that.
Just walk us with any questions.
It's like this,
Oh,
the,
So.
Thank you for letting me do my goals.
Yeah, that's our key.
My goal is to give you the best customer experience possible. It's kind of like a clear idea of what you want to do. So throughout this time, it's probably going to take maybe 20-30. That's kind of history on the quick meeting, especially one question is, what are you going to do? So first,
so,
and
I spoke a lot, but,
it's okay with you, I write some notes along as we go.
yeah.
When you remember, I heard. And I would be so thinking of the.
That's great.
So, yeah, no, that's.
okay,
So you start going to get money. I like to do the question first.
Yeah.
Okay. And then.
so with your experience, what I'm telling you, it's not like law.
Okay.
I'm more natural when I know the person and I already have some kind of relationship with them. Because for me to just practice, it doesn't come up to me like that, it's just,
Not supposed to.
it's,
No, that's why we have a lot of role plays. There's a class where you can come and role play with people, just asking questions and they will reject you or you will reject them. Or just having like if it was an actual conversation with the client. And that's how you practice. Because it is hard in the beginning. And I mean, I don't know that it ever gets easier, you just get used to it and you move forward because you're the one with the business. So if you come to those classes, that will help you a lot. It will give you more experience on how to start the conversations with everyone.
are those the classes here in the schedule, but
Some of the classes are on the schedule.
They're every Monday and Thursday and Friday, I think. But if you go on the Hunter, Jenny, you can get on Google Calendar and it has all of the classes for the duration.
And if you tell Hunter which classes you're more interested in, I mean, I guess the goal is to finish Ignite classes all at once, like they go in a row. But then there's also classes where you do the conversation, what's it called? Have you guys been to those classes
No.
where you role play?
I've been to your role playing class.
Have you? Okay,
so
yeah.
they're not in the schedule.
No, I'm not sure if they are, but like, Katie said, Hunter will give you if you tell him this is the stuff that I'm so interested in, he would,
That's role play, just mess up the current comments.
in front of clients.
Yeah, just mess up in front of them.
I mean, you gotta know something or another, but these Killer Brilliance has a lot of responses I can help us sometimes.
Well, I'm trying to do where like more experienced students, they go up in front of a lot of people like panel type thing and they have their own like role play So you get to watch and see like what kind of conversations they have, but the more you have the questions and stuff of the way, make you more comfortable to do it.
I mean, because like you said, you're new, you said you've only had the license for a couple of weeks. I mean, it is harder in the beginning, so the more you come to the classes and the more you interact with other agents, it will make it easier.
Okay.
And you learn from other agents, because you learn from other people's experience, for sure. Okay, ready? You guys practice?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Okay, so then this is part of the buyer's guide, the buyer's needs analysis. And we already went through some of this where you ask them, how many rooms do you want? How many bathrooms do you want? Do you want a house that has a master bedroom? Sometimes they don't care, it's just a couple and they just want an extra room for the office. Or yes, I do want a master bedroom and I want another bathroom on the hallway for the kids. We want a bigger house, an extra room. So all that information they're giving you, you're writing it down so that you remember and send them what they're looking for and whatever's in their price range.
I want a walking dungeon in your house. Oh, sorry.
That is creepy, right? That would question. Okay, so on this one, and I mentioned this, the big part of your buyer consultation is filling out the needs and analysis. This is where you listen much more than you talk. So that's when you're just listening. You're asking the questions, listening to what they're saying and writing things down. And like I mentioned before, it's going to make you look so professional because you're going to remember what they want and you're going to send them only what they're looking for. And let's see. So on this one, on the wish list, there's a place, I don't know if you guys can see it in your booklets, but it's a place where you can ask them, so what's one thing that you definitely don't want to change? Or what's one thing that you're okay with it not being there? Like, I want 2 living rooms. Okay, if we find a house that has 5 rooms, 3 baths, and just 1 living room, will you be okay with that? Okay. Or do you want a backyard? How big of a backyard? Well, just 0.20, no less than that. If we find a house that's 0.16 and has everything you asked for, well, are you okay with that? So just a matter of asking them more. So because it would be hard for you to send them exactly what they want. But if you ask them what's good, one thing that we can change, or one thing that you're okay not having.
This past summer, just to highlight why you want to ask them why they want something to do. I was helping people, and this actually happened to be my brother-in-law and his wife. And, you know, she is the type, she's one of those Zillow people. Go through, get all these houses in Zillow, go look at them. So they're like, okay, you know, that's fine. I won't do the searching and tell me what you want and I'll arrange it. We'll drive around. After looking about 5 or 6 houses, I kept noticing that, well, this one doesn't have an unfinished basement. This one has a finished basement. And finally I asked her, like, why do you want an unfinished basement? And her response was, well, I want to have a spot that you can build a workshop. Well, what if we just do a 3-car garage? You could use 2 of those spots for your cars and a third spot. Oh, that would work. Now all of a sudden finished basements were in the market. We found a perfect home and finished. So understanding why they want something is almost as important as knowing what they say they want.
It
Because
is.
sometimes you can find a better solution for them by understanding what they really want.
Yeah. Yeah. And understanding that throughout the process, when you're showing them houses, sometimes they might change their mind. And you're like, I thought you didn't want this. Okay. You in your head.
To get an idea.
And it's as you're looking at other houses, they ended up getting another ideas from the other houses, and you're like, I thought you didn't want this, but you do. So let's look for. So just understanding everything they want, and that's what this needs analysis is. So you understand what they want, and you get them in the right place. So you stop wasting time for them and for you.
So in other words, debrief them after every home.
Yeah,
Find
pretty
out what they
much.
liked and
Like,
like here. And you want to do that outside so that you don't get recorded, right?
Oh, yeah, because a lot of houses have cameras all over now these days, that's for sure, yeah. Okay. So once you're talking to the buyer, when you have the buyer here at the table, you're giving them this information and you're asking them these questions about the house, and you're writing them down. What do you think they think? Or how do you make, what do you think they felt seeing you writing things down, writing the answers down?
You're
How do you
actually
think-
hearing what they're going to say,
Mhm.
and you're writing notes, you're paying attention to what they want.
And how does this conversation helps the buyer's expectation towards you and buying the house?
Well, it also gets more of a concrete, hey, you said this.
Yeah,
And so later when they said, well, you told you that, no, you told me this, yeah, it's more of a protection thing. But then, they're gonna be less likely to change on you if you have it written down.
mm-hmm.
And it's okay for them to change,
Yeah, it is.
but they're not gonna blame you then, they're gonna realize that, oh, that is what we said.
In one of the cases, it could be that, oh, you know what, we told you we want an unfinished basement, but I think we do want it finished because we don't want to do the work. And so things change. And then say, we told you, but we want to change, then it's like, oh, because we know that they wrote it down, so let's just change it, or so
Also,
they can send it.
use my experience from buying my last property. And even though, when William took notes and everything,
Mhm.
even though you already told them what you wanted, sometimes there's stuff that you don't want, but they still gonna send it to you.
Mhm.
Because there's a possibility that, like you said, might change your mind.
Mhm.
On me, I was already set on what I wanted, so I already, and that's what I like about the experience that I had with this company, is because they understood what you wanted.
Yeah,
Maybe it didn't happen the first or second time, but once we got everything cleared up, everything was so much easier.
smoother, yeah.
smoother.
Yeah, and this is why we do it, because we want to give good experience to the client, so they can come back. Or they can come back as an agent and be under us. See? So that's good. Okay, so this conversation, when we have that conversation in with the analysis and the buyer's guide, the conversation helps the buyer know why it's important to spend time with you discussing their wants and needs before looking at a house. So they're gonna know, oh, it is important, so they can take us to the right place and not just take us driving everywhere, wasting everyone's time, everyone's gas. Okay. Let's see the next one. Do you guys have any questions? Any ahas? I mean, we've been talking already, right? What have you guys learned from this section, the last section? The importance of asking, writing down, showing them that we care. What do you think it's important about that?
I think you're writing those things, I'm not very good at doing that, writing it down in front of them. Like, I'll make people,
Oh.
they want this and this, and I don't actually write it down, which I probably should.
I mean, I usually don't write them down on the paper, but I do have a note in my computer and I'm always like typing down. So, which is still good, right? Because they know that we're doing something.
Yeah.
And I always, because you're typing and sometimes you're looking at the screen, and I always tell them, I'm just typing down your answers. So don't think I'm ignoring you, just writing things down that you're telling me so that I remember and don't have to ask you again. So, yep, okay. Let's move on.
So I can actually read it.
When I don't have anything to do, no. Getting the signed buyer agreement. Okay, so now that we've gone through this, what's this one? Okay. So now that we've gone through all this, explaining the guide, the buyer's guide, asking their questions about what they want and they need, we're going to practice the close for agreement conversation. It says that you guys should have it. You should also have it in your practice. Handling objections to executing conversation. I don't know if you guys have it somewhere in your slides. Before this bio look for close to conversation. So they want us to role play this again, and it says that it's somewhere in your. Do you guys see the close for agreement conversation in your?
Page 214.
Okay, so they want us to practice this, to give you guys another 3 minutes to practice role play the conversation with a participant.
Okay, they have 3 different options for it.
So it says one of them is going to be the handling objections to exclusive conversation, I think, and then close for the agreement conversation. So if you can practice at least one of those, whichever one you want. They just want us to role play so we can get more familiar with this type of conversations once we get an appointment with the buyer. You guys found it? Did you find it, Kelly?
Yeah.
You just choose whichever one you want, or you can practice all of them. The more the merrier.
Being that we know what we're looking for. It's time for me to get to look for you. In order to do that, I just need to assign the 5 representatives to give me the right to look on.
Christian, you want to practice with Katie?
That means I can help you negotiate.
What page was that, Katie?
Get the best deal possible on the. On the one that would absolutely be like, and watch the rest of your life.
Some other agents or
So-
something. And
So the buyer representative agreement, here it
they
is.
just finish up and they're like, all right, so that does not sound like they're gonna do it with me. Like it just.
The buyer representative.
Yeah.
And once you have it down, you will feel more comfortable, and maybe in the beginning, you're gonna use it.
Who's the buyer? So
But for me,
buyer broker to this.
and
The BBA, I'm not familiar with that. Is that the buyer exclusive buyer? Yeah, that is the same thing.
Same thing as this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
buyer representative.
Mhm.
Okay. I say on the MLS, it's buyer representative agreement, isn't it?
No.
Or is it buyer broker?
Buyer broker, and then-
Is it buyer broker? Okay. I just remember that. Okay. Question.
Did you find it, Christian? Do you need help?
So what exactly?
Yeah. it is that kind of-
Practice this,
Really,
role play with her, like choose your client, so you can tell her this, and then whichever one you choose, 1, 2, or 3.
Questions like what type of home you're gonna look at for your best. I was just end up wrapping it like.
Say that it's time for you to make it work.
Instead of. Because at that point, we're gonna look at all your videos.
Did your best.
It's gonna be the
My best interest.
like, are you recording? Like,
That's what it is. Well, it's already-
Well, we have to change the number.
So he gave you- Would it be that?
So keep saying the contract as you represent.
The buyer broker agreement.
I already get. Since you're thinking, I already need to. I was on my ground, I could do a lighter guy, anybody wants to on the contract, or you want on the house, everything. Now it's the time. Which is, okay.
It's only.
Have any questions? No, the next, this, spring the contractor, they represented you by the social media houses.
So I mean, also, we have so this is what we're asked.
No, yeah, I'm just. But,
Okay.
don't like,
it's certainly the reason that they do the long term activity. And
they bring up.
we would never leave my job.
And that's when you would.
We want is what,
Ah,
But if you do it, it's a good
Look,
look.
that's what I'm trying to.
Okay, I never did buy your.
do on the-
So if they go right now, they were decided. That's the cost.
So that's when you count, you ask them, but if you once they already told you what they want.
This?
Let's-
On the presentation stuff.
I'm not gonna throw on this, you would do that.
What's the problem, right? Like, what you deliver, agent, like, your routine,
This
it's always, hard to get our needs, your connections, even like you want to be part of it. Presentation. Why agent.
Yeah, that's over.
You deliver your project, part of your.
It's enough in the buyer's doing.
There's one.
Yeah. What's the-
That's, do you guys tell me that?
Sadly.
Meeting to,
Sorry, people in Zoom, we're practicing in here.
and then,
And
they have a certain way they have to do it.
they're going to do. If you have any questions,
If we get technical,
what I'm saying is, and then.
better,
We'll be back. It's hard to see the places. You feel region, you need to start.
Really good.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's main things like on the spot, or I've been with other agents. Or they just explain it and then they leave it for them to sign later.
Okay, one more minute, guys.
Could you be one of those?
We just want to think.
Okay.
We want you to help you.
So that's where- That's another-
Never.
Just.
Just.
Okay.
We just want to say they never talk to me. That's the part.
Let them come to us.
Okay,
Class.
let's- Yes, let's wrap this up. Yes, Christian, that's why these classes are so important, because you learn a lot from the speaker or from just role playing with the agents here in the office that are learning at the same
That's
time.
my hardest part because it's almost like acting, you know?
It is, and you gotta,
That's the part of it.
the good thing about it is that you're acting with agents that already know or are learning, and then you learn together. And then you set out there with the clients. So that's good. What do you guys learn from this practice?
Just gotta get more smooth with it. You don't want to end you go through all the presentation and then end with choppiness.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. So practicing, it's good. It's good, gives you more experience. The more you do it, the better you get. Yes, and then we're finishing up here. The next one would be, so close for agreement, we already did right now. Practice. Wrapping up the buyer consultation. So on this one, don't forget to share your Keller Williams app. Do you guys all have that? Yes. Christian, you should make an appointment with Hunter. He would help do
I
that.
think I already have it set up.
It is. So it's in command, and then you share that with your client before they leave.
Okay.
Share it.
Do you have
Yes.
command on your phone?
No,
Hit command on your phone.
okay.
And then there's a thing where you can share the app. And
Mhm.
you just text it to them. And then you
Yeah.
just click that and it'll automatically, it'll help them download it, they install it, and it'll automatically link you to yours.
Yes,
You'll definitely want to make it a quick one, Hunter, because they do an onboarding thing and they give you all the stuff to download and they explain the documents, like how to get started. And it makes it a lot easier, because like he said, there's so many resources, it's like.
we do have a lot of resources, and it's time, it takes time to review every single one of them. I mean, I still haven't done every single one of them. Yes, but it's so helpful, like this part where don't forget to share your app with your client. It's really big because they're gonna leave the office motivated to buy a house. And the first thing they're gonna want to do is like go online and search for houses.
So
But
the app that you share with your customers, that's what they can look for house.
yes,
Okay.
so that app has, it's like the MLS,
Uh-huh.
but better because you can see houses all over the world.
I
Like,
have no idea about it.
yeah, so it's really good. And then on top of that, once they open up, they download the app in their phones, they have to sign up. When they sign up, their information automatically goes into your database.
Oh, nice.
And so when it goes into your database, then you can see all the houses that they've been looking into.
Okay.
So,
If that's after you sign the buyer's agreement.
yeah,
Okay,
because you want them to sign the buyer agreement before they leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can offer your app really whatever too.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yes, friends and-
Even friends that.
Yeah, yeah.
that wanna be looking-
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a good way to, when you.
Promote
start
your
to-
information because it's branded with your information.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's-
It's branded with your information, and so instead of them looking for houses somewhere else online, might as well look for houses in your app, and then they automatically go into your database. So that saves you work too.
I need to get up today with the technology.
And then when you share the app, just make sure you explain what's in there.
Uh-huh.
Let them know there's a filter, look for the houses within your price range. If they already know the price range, but if they don't, but they have in mind what price range they want, they can just put it in the filter. Because if you don't use a filter, it would just show you every single thing there's out there. But instead of them wasting time looking for that, just put the filter. It will give you just what you're looking for. And you explain that to them, and they get so surprised. Oh, this is good. Yeah. Don't look, don't go look somewhere else.
Sign the buyer's agreement.
Mhm.
That's when you already start the pre-qualification.
Yes.
Of what they're gonna be.
Uh-huh.
For.
That's when you're gonna, so when you're in the appointment and you're telling them, this is a process, you have to go to the lender. Well, I'll refer you to a lender. This is the information. Sometimes what I do, I even get the lender on the phone and let them know I'm here with this client, give them their information. Can they schedule an appointment with you? And the lender gives them an appointment, and then whenever the appointment is, they go and talk to the lender, and the lender tells them what to bring to the appointment so they can be ready. So that makes you look more efficient too, if you could help them make the appointment right then. Or here, let me share with you the lender's name and phone number so that you have it ready. Let's get you an appointment. And sometimes what I do too is it okay if I share your information with the lender so he can call you? And oh yeah, go ahead and do that. So then I'll share it with the lender. So, and then I share the lender's information with them, and then share their information with the lender. So I asked the permission from the client.
Yeah.
Mhm. And that helps it, because then you can speed things up. Because sometimes if they leave and, yeah, I'll call the lender, it takes them weeks for them to call the lender. So it makes you look more efficient too. So that's good to have a list of all the contractors out there, lenders, home inspectors, home warranties. So you have everything ready for them when it gets to the point being under contract and everything.
And you know what, for my own past experience, having lenders that drop the loan on you, it happens a lot.
Yeah,
Right?
but that's why you want to refer them to lenders that you know they're good. Because I've had bad experiences with lenders, and I always cut them out of my list. Like they're out of my list. Yeah.
Lenders that they don't work.
And like I said, only refer them out to people you trust. Like if they already messed up with you, don't send them over, because most likely they'll do it again. So, and you want to send it to someone you trust, and you know that they're going to take care of your client just like you're doing. Because if you send it to someone, same with title. If you send it to someone that doesn't give them the attention that you've given them when they need it, they're going to mess up the whole transaction. Everything you've built, they're going to destroy it. So it's, I mean, experience, I guess. Okay, explain what's next, what happens, or with the app, the filter. And then we're gonna, after we're done, so they already signed the contract, they already signed, well, the agreement, you share the app. You want to explain what's gonna happen. And like we mentioned right now, refer them to the lenders. Once we get, let them know, once we get the pre-approval from the lender, then we're gonna focus on the houses, have the needs and wants that you just told me that I wrote down, and also within the same price range, your pre-approvals within the same communities that you want to be, no HOA, however they want to tell, they've told you, and also send them neighborhood information of that community that they want to live in. And once again, send them lender's recommendation. And that's what I usually do. Once we have all, we're done with the class. So then I just let them know, this is what's going to happen next. The lender, once I get that pre-approval, then we're going to start looking for houses within the price range. I'm going to start showing houses with you, and we'll go from there. If you like it, we'll go under contract, send offers. They accept it, go under contract. And that's pretty much. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me. I think we are done. So how has you guys got from here? How has your thinking changed from being in this class? What ideas or mindsets were new for you? Anything you got from here?
Presentation in general, like I've tried to make things easier for leads that I have by like trying to send them stuff online or whatever, because they just keep subjecting after they don't want to do me, but yeah, so just really pushing for that somehow.
Stay in mind.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I have a question, Sandra. Looking at the timeline earlier that was there. You have the kind of buyer presentation, you get an agent. Before you do the actual presentation, do you get them pre-approved? Or do you do that and then do the pre-approval after, and you just don't look for homes until you get the pre-approval?
Okay, and see, everyone's different, depending on how you feel more comfortable, but I'll tell you how I do it. So whenever I have a lead that calls me, get a hold of them, whichever way we finally talk. I ask them questions of what they want. Basically, I kind of do the presentation or the appointment over the phone. And then after they tell me all this questions, they answer my questions, I refer them to the lender. Sometimes they want to come to the appointment. So we schedule the appointment, they come to the office, and then we talk to the lender. After they go to the lender and get the pre-approval, then I show them houses. I usually don't show them houses until I actually have a pre-approval. Because I've never had this experience, but I've heard from other agents where they show them houses and then the client end up getting pre-approved and it's for less than what they were looking for, and then they get disappointed. So in my experience, I always show them houses, but not until after we get the pre-approval.
Okay.
I mean, and as soon as the lender tells me they're pre-approved for so much, then I tell them and we start looking for houses. I don't wait until they actually give me the letter. As long as I hear from the lender, this is how much they can be pre-qualified for, then I start showing houses. I don't do it before because I don't want them to get disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, you showing me this, now this, but this is how much you get pre-approved for.
So you don't want to show them $600,000 home, find out they have $400,000.
Yeah,
Because
I
that's
don't.
just going to look worse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't, me personally, I don't do that, but that's just what I do. And I think it's better because then you're not wasting anyone's time. You see what I mean? Like, if you're showing them houses that are, like you said, 600,000, but they only qualify for 4, it's like wasting time. Let's just wait. I always tell them, let's wait to hear from them. Make sure you get all the paperwork ready that they're asking you for, so they can give us an approval as soon as possible.
So you do like the buyer agreement before they have that, but you're going to strongly encourage the pre-approval before you actually show houses.
Well, yeah, because once you're giving them the appointment, you're already representing them because you're giving them your time. And when they don't come to the appointment to the office, then I give them the buyer agreement on the first showing that we do. It's because not all of them come to the appointment in the office, but I do the appointment over the phone. So I don't send them the agreement by email. But once we the approval and we go showing houses, then I do give it to them on the first day that we show houses. And I always let them know this is so that I can use it to represent you when I start sending offers. So the other agents know that I'm representing you. And I explain, we have to go through that process.
I have just a specific question for you because you told me that you work with the Spanish market.
Mhm.
So what is the most difficult part of closing a deal with the Hispanic population? For you, what is it?
So for me, just the appointment itself,
Uh-huh.
when they come to the appointment, it's hard because we're not too much trustworthy.
Yeah.
So most of the time I give it to them when we go show houses, because then I can say, okay, now I'll show you a house and you want to send an offer, or you're getting ready to send offers if you like a house. In order for me to send an offer, I have to have this agreement signed, showing that I'm representing you when I send an offer. Oh, okay, because they seem that I've already done the work physically into the house, showing them houses.
Okay,
That's what I do.
yeah, because I know I'm gonna be working with the Hispanic market and also, whatever.
But I think that's what has worked for me. Like I give it to them on the first showing appointment
Okay,
for sure. Because then now I was gonna say now you have an excuse. It's not too much of an excuse, but for them it is like, okay, now she's done the work. Now she deserves it.
it's official.
It is official.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Any other questions? So what tools, models, or systems will you be using now that you learned some of the tools that we have, or a lot of the tools that we have in the command?
Definitely creating leads, that's the first one.
Mhm.
Make sure they organize your stuff because
We will make those fire packets or whatever.
Yes, the presentations, the guides. Okay. How about you guys?
Really just be my game on it, because right now I just do the casual talking and stuff like that, start showing houses. I really need to formalize it more, make sure I'm not wasting either of our times.
Yeah, that too. Even though buyers, they want to buy a house and they just want to go see houses right away. But and I have a lot of buyers like that too, and I just tell them, this is the reason why we don't see houses before, because I don't want you guys to get disappointed with me. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. And it does. It's just a matter of us explaining to them so they understand it. They understand the process. Well, good. Thank you all for coming. This is the end of the presentation. Thank you for being here. And you guys have a good day.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, people in Zoom. Thank you.